The tightness in your jaw and the lines around your eyes have a name. I need to talk to you about your face right now. Do not scroll past this message. If you walk away today, you will keep aging under a weight that does not belong to you. You will carry it until it breaks you. And I refuse to let that happen. I was there with you this morning. You stood in front of the mirror and looked at your own reflection. You saw the tiredness pulling down the corners of your mouth, and you wondered how the years had slipped away so fast. You did not recognize the person looking back at you. My beloved child, I saw the silent panic in your chest. I am telling you what is happening to your body, and I am telling you the truth today. Stay where you are. Before this hour ends, you will understand exactly where that deep exhaustion came from. You will feel the heavy grip on your chest loosen completely, and you will know how to drop the burden forever. Type Amen if you hear me. Do it right now so your hands have done something while your heart listens. Let me explain the face you saw in the glass. You touch the skin and believe you are fading away, and you have told yourself that your best years are already gone. You feel ashamed of the marks on your skin. You think time is punishing you. But you are reading the picture entirely wrong. You are not aging faster than you should. You are doing something much quieter and much more damaging. You are comparing your current season to a chapter of your life that has already closed forever. Comparison is a thief that steals the hour you are standing in. When you look in the glass, your eyes are completely closed to the present moment. You measure what you lost instead of what you survived. A soul cannot measure and receive at the exact same time. The lines on your face are not failure. They are the map of your survival. I want you to stop hurting yourself today. Do not look in that glass tomorrow morning looking for flaws, and stop measuring the painful gap between what was and what is. You are alive, and you are still standing. That is the only measurement that truly matters right now. The comparison ends today because you finally see the truth about your own resilience. But the comparison is only the first layer of the problem. There is a deeper reason why you feel so drained. You are carrying a massive load for someone else without even knowing it, and it has been draining your spirit for years. And I am about to tell you exactly who that person is. Do not move from where you are sitting. You need to hear this next part, my weary one. I know exactly how heavy the days have felt. You have been holding everything together for a very long time, and nobody around you notices how tired you have become. You do what is expected of you on the mornings when you have zero strength left. You smile for them. You answer their questions, and nobody asks how you are doing. I see the invisible work you do. I have witnessed every single silent step. You take care of their needs long before you take care of your own. You absorb the tension in the room so they do not have to feel it. You are the quiet foundation that keeps the house from falling apart. And it is draining the life out of your physical body. The stress is writing its dark story on your face, but I am not going to leave you in this broken condition. I know you have asked me for help in the dark. You prayed with your eyes squeezed shut when the house was asleep, and you asked me why the journey had to be this hard. You wondered if I was ignoring your quiet cries for sudden relief. I heard every single word you whispered. I saw the tears you wiped away before anyone could see them. The silence was never my absence. I was gathering the answer you needed. I know what rose in your mind just now when I asked you to let go. You are thinking you have tried this before. You knelt down and surrendered the heaviness. You kept the promise for 11 days and broke it on the 12th. And the burden came rushing back. You feel like a failure because the peace never lasts. You are telling me the truth. I will not argue with your honest history because I was there for every hour of it. But hear the difference. 2 under 4. What you tried to change was behavior, and you carried the discipline until your human strength gave out. Strength is not meant to hold a heavy stone forever. You did not fail. An old burden takes time to move out of your house. It has momentum, and that momentum is not the same thing as a spiritual defeat. You simply worked faithfully on the wrong layer. Do not scold yourself for being tired. We are going to look at the root underneath the habit today. Let me describe a morning you have lived so many times you stopped counting. You sleep the whole night through, and still you wake up with your neck completely stiff. You stand in the kitchen with your hand on the coffee cup, and your chest feels incredibly heavy. The sun is barely up, but your shoulders are already carrying the day. You hear a phone ring or a door close, and you brace yourself before you even know who it is. This is not the normal tiredness of a body that worked hard in a garden. A body that works hard, sleeps deep, and wakes hungry. This is another kind of tired. It is a deep weariness that follows you into the quietest rooms of your house, and nobody sees it. You have explained this pain to yourself so patiently over the years. You have said that you are just getting older. You have said that you used to be stronger, and something inside you has quietly given way. You have called yourself weak in a tone you would never use on a friend. Hear me right now. That is not the truth. You are not weak, and you were never weak. You have carried other people through storms you barely survived yourself. A weak soul does not do that. The explanation you settled on is wrong, and everything you built on top of it is wrong too. It is time to stop apologizing for a failure that does not exist. Here is what no one has told you, and what I will tell you now. Exhaustion does not come from the weight you were given by me. It comes from the weight you were never given. Somewhere along the way, you began to carry things I never placed in your hands. You took on the piece of a house that is not yours to keep peaceful. You carry another person's mood the way a man carries water in his bare arms. It soaks him, it spills the whole way, and he never arrives. I am going to name this so you can never unsee it again. This is the borrowed load. It has your fingerprints all over it, but it was never yours to hold. It belongs to someone else. Your body is telling the absolute truth. The stiff neck and the tight chest are physical reactions to a spiritual problem. When you take responsibility for choices you did not make, your own soul goes into a defensive posture. You cannot heal an exhausted spirit by resting the physical body. The healing begins when you drop the extra bags. You have punished yourself for struggling under a load you were never built to carry. I want you to make a declaration right now. Type, "I was not imagining the weight" in the comments. Write it down while you still remember what it cost you to believe you were just weak. I read what my children write. Now look back with me across the timeline of your life. Those long years you have called your failing years are completely misunderstood. You were not failing at all. You were hauling. Every single morning you woke up and picked up heavy bags that belonged to other people. You carried them without complaining. And every night you stood in harsh judgment over yourself for walking so slowly. You looked at others and wondered why they moved so fast. They moved fast because their arms were empty. You were never lazy. You were loaded down with responsibilities I never asked you to touch. A loaded soul that keeps walking is not weak. She is faithful. I saw your faithfulness the entire time. Even when all you could see was how far behind you had fallen, I saw the exact truth. I watched you absorb the anger of a brother or the disappointment of a parent. You tried to fix situations that were fundamentally broken. You thought you were keeping the peace. You were actually drowning in their storm. I never intended for you to be the savior of your family. That is my job alone. When you try to save people from their own choices, you stand in the way of the lesson they need to learn. You become the shield that keeps them from growing up. And in the process, you lose the very life I designed specifically for you. So today I am asking something incredibly small of you. It is not a grand vow. It is not a massive transformation that takes months to achieve. I want you to ask one simple question before you pick anything up today. Did my father hand me this? Ask it at the kitchen sink. Ask it before you answer the ringing phone. And when the quiet answer is no, I want you to set it down. Set it down without a long speech and without a single apology. Putting down what I never gave you is not abandonment. It is obedience. The people around you might get angry when you stop carrying their bags. Let them be angry. Their anger is not your assignment. You have lived your whole life answering to expectations I never established. I address my people by their true assignment. I do not address them by their hiding places or their trauma. Come out from under that crushing weight. You have been answering to the wrong name for decades. You are my beloved child. You are not their beast of burden. I am telling you what is moving toward you, and I am telling you tonight. I have watched this exact pattern destroy lives more times than you can count, and it never ends well. I am standing between you and that dark outcome right now. Stay where my hand can reach you. I am completely breaking the cycle of the borrowed load tonight. You will wake up tomorrow morning and feel a strange emptiness in your hands. Do not rush to fill that empty space with a new crisis. Let the empty space remain empty. That is what peace actually feels like. You have forgotten the texture of peace because chaos became your normal weather. We are changing the weather in your house today. Begin with one tiny thing today. Leave one text message unanswered. Let one argument happen without stepping in to mediate. Drop one expectation that makes your chest feel tight. One dropped bag is enough to prove the prison door is unlocked. You do not have to fix everything before you go to sleep tonight. Just rest. You have spent so many years trying to earn love by being useful. Usefulness is not a currency you can use to buy affection. Love that requires you to carry a mountain is not love at all. It is merely a transaction. I do not operate in transactions. I give freely, and I command you to receive freely. You are allowed to put the heavy bags down, right now. Your physical body is screaming for relief because your spirit is exhausted. I am healing the exhaustion at the root today. The lines of worry will fade from your face when the false responsibility fades from your mind. Breathe deeply. Let the oxygen reach the places that have been tight for 10 years. You are safe here. You are finally allowed to rest. I named the borrowed load so you would recognize it easily. Now I want you to see who you become once your arms are completely empty. Come with me to an ordinary morning a season from now. Nothing special has been announced. You wake up before the alarm rings, and you walk into the bathroom to look at your own face in the mirror. And you do not brace yourself. Your shoulders stay down where they belong. Notice what is missing from that face in the glass. The deep tightening behind your eyes is simply not there. You do not run through a mental list of everyone else's problems before the day has even started. The phone lies face down on the counter. You do not feel it pulling at you from across the room because you have finally learned how to protect your own boundaries. And the morning silence does not frighten you at all. That is the peace you have forgotten. That calm reflection is not a distant dream. She already exists. He is already standing there. That version of you is not being built in a faraway place out of impossible materials, because they are standing right on the other side of the heavy bags you are still holding. The distance between you and that mirror is not time. It is simply permission. You grant it yourself. Permission is a word you say out loud in a quiet room. You declare that the heavy luggage belongs to someone else, and you set it down completely so the morning can start walking toward you. If you are willing, I want you to claim this freedom tonight. Type, "It was never mine to carry" right now. Put those words down so you can step into that new room. We must address the other shadows standing in your hallway. There is a place in your life you have arrived at more than once, but you have never said it out loud to anyone. The hard work was almost finished. The heavy door was almost open. The person was almost yours to finally trust. And then, something strange happened. Right near the beautiful end, you knocked the cup over. You went quiet for a week and let the good thing die. You picked a small fight over something that did not matter at all. Afterward, you sat in your car in the dark, and you had no words for a person who runs from the exact peace they begged me for. You wonder why you destroy the very safety you desperately seek. I saw you sitting in that dark car. You believe you are simply afraid of failing because you have told yourself that safe story for 20 years while hiding from your true potential. You say you are terrified it will not work out. My child, look closely at the actual evidence of your own life. You have survived massive failures before. You survived the collapse more than once, and each time you wiped your tears and built it again. You are not afraid of the thing collapsing. You have proven you can live through the absolute worst collapse. You are actually afraid of what happens when the building stands. You are terrified of success. But it is not a normal fear of victory, because it is something much older and much deeper than that. I am going to bring it into the light. Let me show you where that hidden fear was born. In the house where you grew up, someone did not rise. Someone set their music down and never picked it up again. And the family learned to speak of that pain in a lowered voice. And a child watching that learns a silent law. I am not permitted to go higher than the people I love. To rise would feel like leaving them behind forever. To succeed would feel like you are accusing them of failing. So, the child builds a thick roof out of pure love, and then you spend 30 years calling that heavy roof your fear. I am naming it right now so you hear it every time you stall. This is the loyalty ceiling. It is not cowardice holding you back, beloved. It is misguided devotion. You sabotage your own peace. You falsely believe that shared suffering is the only way to stay connected to your painful past. I need you to hear this truth clearly. Your staying small has never once made them larger. The thick ceiling has cost you everything and given them absolutely nothing. Now look again at the ruins you have been ashamed of. Look closely at the broken pieces. You did not smash those beautiful opportunities out of weakness. You were silently protecting somebody you loved. Every time you stopped just short of victory, you were honoring a hidden contract. You were speaking a language older than words. You were saying you would never outgrow the people who raised you. You believed your success would highlight their painful failures. That is not a defect in your character, my child. That is a deeply loyal heart that was never told the absolute truth. But you must hear the real truth today. I will not hide it. Your choice to stay small has never once made them larger. The thick ceiling has cost you everything and given them absolutely nothing in return. Dimming your own light does not make their room any brighter. It only leaves both of you sitting in the cold dark. I never asked you to live in the dark. You thought poverty of spirit was a holy sacrifice. It is just poverty. I gave you unique talents and open doors so you could walk completely through them. I want you to shatter that false ceiling today. You do not need to apologize for the wonderful blessings I freely give. I want you to boldly claim them. So do this one thing for me before you sleep tonight. Say the name out loud, quietly and only to me. I want you to say the name of the person you have been staying small for all these years. Speak it into the empty room, then say these exact words after me. I fully release the heavy debt today. My rising takes nothing away from them. My healing does not mock their pain. And then, I want you to go back to the exact work you recently abandoned. Pick it up again. Take one honest step above the invisible ceiling. You do not need to climb the whole staircase tonight. One step is enough. A ceiling that is crossed even once loses all its false authority over you. The spell breaks the moment you realize it was only a mental illusion. You are finally free. That was not a failure of your faith. You were simply trapped in a cycle of misplaced loyalty that drained your spirit. I am releasing you from that cycle right now. Breathe in the freedom I am handing you. Let the fresh air fill your tired lungs. I know this sudden realization feels completely overwhelming right now. The heavy chains are falling to the floor because the truth always destroys the lies of the enemy. I want you to make a physical declaration of this spiritual breakthrough. It seals the truth in your heart. If you are ready to stop sabotaging your own peace, tell me in the comments. Type, "I am not what happened," so you can step into your new season today. Writing it down makes it real. It permanently stops the enemy from whispering those identical old lies in your ear tomorrow morning when you finally wake up. I read what my children write. We are moving the heavy stones out of your path. You are learning to walk without the chains that held you back for 20 years. But we are not completely finished yet. There is another deep layer we must carefully address before this hour is over. I am not going to leave you half-healed. I finish the work I start. I am telling you what is moving toward you, and I am telling you tonight. I have watched this exact thing happen 10,000 times in 10,000 houses. It always follows the exact same predictable sequence. I know exactly how the story goes, because I have read it in 1,000 lives long before yours. I see the end from the beginning. The enemy uses the same tired tricks to keep my children bound in fear. He uses your own pure and good intentions. He secretly builds the thick walls of your silent prison, but I hold the master keys to every single cell. Stay with me. I am going to unlock the next heavy door. You need to see what is hiding directly behind it. I know there is a heavy sentence you have been holding inside since long before tonight. You are thinking about the times you asked me for help. You asked for years. You asked in the way you were taught, and then in desperate ways no one ever taught you, and the room stayed completely quiet. You wonder why you should trust me now. I will not tell you the room was not quiet. It was. You did not imagine that crushing silence. You did not deserve it. And no one has the right to explain it away in a quick sentence and move on to something more comfortable. The silence was real. The pain of waiting was incredibly deep. I saw every tear. I will also not tell you that you asked wrongly. You did not. There was no better hour and no truer posture. No special arrangement of words would have opened what a plainer word could not. Anyone who tells you the flaw was in your technique is telling you something I never said. You prayed beautifully. Here is the only thing I will offer you today. I offer it gently, and you may set it down if it is too soon. Silence is not the same as absence. A father sitting in the dark beside his sleeping child makes no sound at all. The child waking in that dark may believe he is totally alone. He is wrong about the house. He is not wrong about the dark. The dark was real, and it was long, but it was not empty. I am not asking you to call those painful years good. I am simply asking you to consider that you were not completely alone inside them. I was sitting right beside your bed. I never left you in the dark. Silence and refusal are not the same thing. The human heart cannot tell them apart, so it fills the quiet room with the worst word it knows. But listen to what actually happens in a waiting season. Between the asking and the arriving, a beautiful unseen work is being done. The work is on the vessel. A massive gift that comes before your hands are ready is not a mercy. It is a terrible loss with a beautiful wrapping. I have watched it break the very people who relentlessly begged for IT. So some of what you asked for is simply being made ready, and you are being made strong enough to hold it. Now we must move forward. The waiting season is shifting into something much larger. You have endured the quiet years without fully breaking. You carried the borrowed load, and you hit the loyalty ceiling, but you are still standing. That resilience is not an accident. I was preparing you for the next door. There is an exact order to these spiritual things. First comes the intense striving, then comes the deep exhaustion, and only after the exhaustion comes the grand opening. You have successfully completed the first two phases, beloved. You have been standing at the third door for longer than you know. The door stands open. Every minute you stay here tonight is adding to what I am rebuilding in you. None of it is wasted. That is why leaving costs more than you think. The thing I brought you here to receive has not been completely revealed yet. What I have said so far is the part you were ready for. What is coming next is the part you were not. Do not move. If you go now, you will walk into tomorrow with your eyes open and still not see the beautiful blessing. The spiritual sight is the exact part I am giving you right now. You will step into the new season and things will start coming apart, and you will not know why. Stay right where you are. We are approaching the great turning point. I am gathering the loose threads of your life and pulling them into a tight knot. I want you to prepare your tired heart for a massive shift. The heavy stones are moving out of the way. The dark clouds are finally breaking. Get ready to receive it. I am not going to explain this to you the way a normal man would explain it. I am going to say it once, and you are going to know it is absolutely true. The longest night of your life is finally ending. Lift your heavy head and look at me. I am about to speak directly into the silence. I want to show you another room you sit in when the house goes dark. You lie awake at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling. You have a prayer you used to say out loud every single night. You spoke the words with absolute faith. You asked for the breakthrough, and you waited patiently for the heavy door to finally open so you could step into the light. And the room stayed completely quiet. Now you still say the words inside your head, but you took your weight off them a long time ago. They go up from you the way a man greets a neighbor he has given up, expecting anything from. There is a specific moment right at the end of the prayer when you catch yourself, because you realize the hope has completely drained out of the words. You think I have heard this so many times. You close your eyes and feel incredibly empty. You have drawn a painful conclusion from my continued silence, and you quietly concluded that I simply said no. And on the hardest nights you concluded something far worse than a simple refusal. You thought I was not listening at all. You believed the desperate words went up into a blank ceiling and vanished into the dark. Beloved, I want to answer that quiet fear directly. I have heard every single one of them. Not one of those lonely nights was unwitnessed by me. Silence was never my word for a permanent refusal. You did not ask wrongly. There was no better arrangement of words that would have unlocked what a plainer word could not. Anyone who tells you the flaw was in your specific prayer technique is telling you a terrible lie, because I do not grade your prayers like a test. You did exactly what I asked you to do. Here is what you have not been told. Silence and refusal are not the exact same thing. The human heart cannot tell them apart, so it fills the quiet room with the worst word it knows. But listen to what actually happens in a long waiting season. Between the asking and the arriving, a beautiful work is being done on the vessel instead of the water. A massive gift that comes before the hands are ready is not a mercy. It is a loss with a beautiful wrapping. I have watched it absolutely break the very people who begged for it, because they received the blessing before they had the character to sustain it. I am naming this quiet season so you stop fighting it tonight. This is the unfinished yes. Some of what you asked for is simply being made ready. Now look back over the lonely years you have called completely abandoned. You were not being ignored in them at all. You were being slowly formed in them. Ask yourself honestly what you can carry right now that you could not have carried before that painful waiting began. None of your current strength came from the instantly answered prayers. All of it came from the long silence. You thought the rejection was proof of your lack of worth. The waiting was never empty of my presence. You simply could not see me working in the dark. I was working on the one vital thing you never thought to look at. I was working on you. The quiet room was a furnace that burned away the fear you used to carry. I saw every tear. Not one was wasted. So I will not ask you to force yourself back into that desperate prayer tonight. I am asking you to change one single word. Where you have been saying, "Why have you not?" I want you to say, "What are you doing?" Say it once out loud before you finally sleep. Then take a piece of paper and write down one thing that is different in you. That paper is your solid evidence. On the nights the silence gets loud again, you will not have to take my word for it. You will have your own handwriting. Hear me where you make your decisions. You were never left behind. You were never the one who missed the blessing. The thing you have been calling your delay has a clear name. The name is preparation. It is what I do to the ones I intend to build a legacy with. So the old argument ends today. Not softens, ends. You are not forgotten. Lift your head. Say it with me. I am not late. Remember the unfinished yes I just named for you. I want you to see what happens when the long waiting finally finishes its beautiful work. Come with me to one ordinary morning that is already on its way. You sit at your kitchen table with a hot cup in your hands. The house is completely quiet, and you do not reach for a distraction to fill the empty space. You simply sit there and breathe. Notice exactly what is missing from that quiet room. The panic is completely gone. You do not feel the familiar urge to fix everyone else's problems before the sun fully rises. You do not wonder if I have forgotten your name. The silence no longer feels like a heavy punishment or a dark rejection. The quiet is actually comforting, and your shoulders are completely relaxed. That peaceful person sitting at the table is not a distant fantasy. She is absolutely real. He is already breathing. That version of you is standing on the other side of the panic you are fighting tonight. The distance between you and that morning is not measured in years. It is a profound shift in your spirit. You let the silence do its holy work. I know your name, but we must carefully address what you do when the silence gets too loud. There is a specific habit you have developed over the years, and it is quietly destroying your peace. Notice what your hand does the exact moment you walk into an empty house. It reaches for a sound. You turn on the television before your coat is even off. You play a song before the lights are on. You fill your daily schedule with endless tasks, so you never have to sit still. If there is a blank space on your calendar, you immediately find a new chore to fill it. You have not sat in total quiet for 10 minutes in 5 years. You cannot stand the silence. You have explained this constant frantic motion to yourself. You call it being highly productive. You say you are just a responsible person who has a lot of important things to do. You look at your endless list of chores and tell yourself that a full schedule means a successful life. My beloved child, that is not the truth. You are not just busy. You are running away. A full schedule is not always the sign of a wonderful life. Sometimes it is a massive wall. You built that wall carefully so you never have to sit in a room with a question you are not ready to hear. The constant noise is not entertainment, beloved. It is a thick shield. I am naming this destructive habit right now so you can finally see it clearly. This is the noise shelter. You run inside it because the quiet forces you to face the heavy things you left unpacked. You use busyness to avoid the pain of your own thoughts. As long as you are moving, you do not have to feel the ache in your chest. But the ache does not disappear just because you ignore it. It simply waits for you to stop moving. You fall into bed completely exhausted every single night, but your mind keeps racing. You are terrified of the dark. We are going to dismantle that shelter today. You have used the noise to block out the bad thoughts, but you also blocked out my voice in the process. I cannot speak to you when the room is constantly filled with loud distractions. You have to give me space to move. The healing you are begging for requires a quiet environment, and you must be the one who creates it. The world tells you that resting is a sign of weakness. The enemy wants you to stay constantly distracted, so you never discover your true spiritual strength. He knows that if you ever sit still and listen to me, your entire life will dramatically change. That is why the urge to turn on the television feels so incredibly urgent. It is a spiritual distraction designed to keep you numb. Now look back with me across the busy years you have called your most successful season. You were incredibly proud of how much you could handle at once. You were not thriving in those years. You were hiding. Every time you added another massive project to your heavy plate, you were actively running from the silent rooms of your own heart. You were not a tireless worker, my child. You were an exhausted god. End quote. You remember the year you took on extra burdens and organized every family gathering. Everyone praised your incredible work ethic. They called you the strong one. They did not know you cried in your car before walking into the house. I knew. I sat in the passenger seat while you wiped your face and put the strong mask back on. You were simply surviving the only way you knew how. You believed that if you stopped moving for a single hour, the old grief would finally catch up and completely consume you. You filled your calendar, so you would never have to sit alone with your painful memories. I saw exactly what you were outrunning. It was a deep wound that nobody ever tended. You have been protecting a broken place by covering it with endless tasks. I am removing the cover today. So tonight, I am giving you a very specific assignment. Do not promise me a full hour of deep meditation. That is too large and you will fail. Promise me exactly 10 minutes of an uncovered room. When you walk inside your quiet house tonight, do not reach for the remote control. Leave the television off. Leave the music off. Put the phone face down on the table. Let the quiet hit you and simply stand there. Whatever rises in your chest during those 10 minutes is the exact thing I have been trying to heal. You must finally let it surface. The tightness is loosening inside your chest as you listen to my voice right now. That is not your imagination playing tricks on you. That is me moving into the empty spaces you are creating. Your willingness to remain here is letting me reach much deeper than I could before. Every second you stay is actively dismantling the noise shelter. You are tearing down the thick walls simply by refusing to look away. But hear this clearly before we go any further. There is a terrible cost to living another year inside the constant noise. It is not a financial cost anyone will send you an invoice for. It is paid quietly in the beautiful things you slowly stop expecting. I am warning you about a deeply ingrained habit that steals your peace. The noise is a comfortable blanket, but it is suffocating your spirit. If you do not break the habit tonight, the walls will only grow thicker. And the thicker the walls become, the harder it is for my voice to penetrate the dark. You will walk into tomorrow completely blind. You will miss the instruction that saves your family. You will spend the next 12 months begging me for the exact piece that was sitting in front of you tonight, and you left it behind. I am standing directly between you and that dark outcome right now. I am the only one who can stop this cycle, and I am already doing it. I am not moving from this spot, but you absolutely must stay where my hand can reach you. Do not go. Leaving ends this healing completely. Perhaps you needed none of this tonight. If none of these heavy words have reached your heart, then perhaps it is not yet your proper season. That is entirely all right, my beloved child. Take only what clearly fits your hands today. You can leave the rest for the ones who will desperately need it tomorrow morning. I am not offended by your timing. I am not going anywhere. But if this message did reach the secret places, listen closely. What comes next is going to sound exactly like the end. The voice will slow down significantly. The words will get much shorter. That is not the end of the message. That is the final doorway. The most important sentence of this entire hour has not been spoken yet. I put it last on purpose. Stay right where you are. The teaching is completely finished, my beloved child. What is left is simply between the two of us. Let the heavy words rest now. I want to speak to you the way a father speaks, at the end of a very long day. I'm going to lower my voice for this last part, because this last part is not an instruction. It is a holy blessing for you to receive. Put your heavy bags down. There is one more thing about the quiet room we discussed earlier. I told you I kept something back until the very end. The person standing in that room who you have not met yet is actually you. They are not coming to magically rescue you from the dark. They are arriving because of who you will have become by the time the bright morning breaks. That is the whole reason I made you wait. The painful waiting was forging a brand new heart inside your chest. Because you carried what was not yours without a single complaint, I am moving you into a completely new season. Your hands will hold only what I specifically assign from this day forward. You will no longer age under the crushing weight of another person's heavy burden. I am lifting the yoke off your tired shoulders. You will not look in the mirror tomorrow and see a tired stranger. Your face will beautifully reflect the profound peace of my constant presence. The deep lines of worry will soften when you finally stop trying to control the wild storms of other people. You will wake up with abundant energy for your own beautiful life. And this incredible healing will not stop with you alone. The children in your family who learn how to live by watching you will learn it from this incredibly rested version. They will clearly see what true spiritual freedom looks like in a human life. You came into this hour carrying a massive stone you had stopped noticing you were actually carrying. You are not walking out into the night with it. You are leaving it right here on the floor. What you are walking out with instead is much smaller and infinitely better. You are walking out with the solid knowledge that your painful waiting had my hands completely wrapped around it. My steady one, you are finally free to put the heavy world down. You do not have to fix everyone you meet. You only have to let me fix the broken places inside your own quiet heart. Right now, you are someone who just heard this comforting message. In 60 seconds, you can become someone who proudly said it. Those are two very different people, and the second one is much harder for the enemy to defeat in the morning. I am not asking you for money or a grand sacrifice tonight. I am simply asking you to make a quiet declaration of your new freedom. A thing you have clearly written down cannot be argued with quite so easily by the noise of the world. I have said everything I came to say today. What happens next is not mine to do. Put your hand on these words and make them absolutely yours. Type "I say yes" with my life in the comments below. Write it out in your own name so you can read it back on a hard day. Let this place know you faithfully stayed to the very end of the journey. I always read what my children write, but there is one final step you must take before you sleep. There is a specific name that arrived in your mind twice while I was speaking tonight. You know exactly who they are, and you know how much they are hurting right now. They desperately need to hear this same truth. Send this exact message to that name right now, and write one short sentence telling them why you thought of them. That single sentence of encouragement will matter more than everything I have said here today. Do not send it to a massive crowd. Send it directly to them, from your heart to theirs. Be the clear voice of hope they have been begging me to send into their dark room. Now go, not in a hurry. Walk out of here the way a person walks when they have finally stopped auditioning for a place they already belong to. I am with you in the car. I am with you in the doorway. I am with you in the kitchen at midnight. Go.